Welcome. My name is Małet Wulat, and together with my wife Eva, I'd like to invite you to the first episode of our new podcast, Past But Not Gone, 30 Years of Proem Ministries.
In today's episode, we will talk about how hard it is to tell 30 years story in 30 minutes.
This is Past But Not Gone podcast, 30 years of Proem Ministries.
Well, gentlemen, 30 years later, how we could tell our story, John, Przemek, Rafał, Daniel, how we can, in a short video, to tell the story of our ministry, beginnings, where we are, where we're heading to. Any ideas on that?
I'm not sure we can tell the story like 30 years so quickly.
30 years is a long time.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you want to start or if maybe we should start.
Well, when you start, then
Well, don't try this, because if I start, there will be 60 years back, not only 30 years back. So
well,
No, we don't start with war stories. Let's start with Proem stories. 30 years and way, way farther than we even thought we will be. That's for sure.
yeah, that's for sure. But if we think about 30 years, then maybe we can try to spin it a little bit and try to start with, if you think about 30 years, Proem 30 years, what comes to mind? 30 years for you. When you hear Proem 30 years, what comes to mind? What memories? What is one thing that maybe...
well, if you would ask me, going 30 years back, Przemek was what? 8 years old, right, Przemek?
8, 6?
Right, 6,
Very
whatever.
young.
However we count it. But Eva, Przemek, and myself, we were just a family involved in the church ministry, and starting something what for us as a family is incredible experience, right, Przemek?
Yeah, that's true. 30 years ago, I was 6, and I didn't know too much what's going on, but I knew it's going to be something special, because not all parents, my friends' parents, were going to the States to Bible school, and kids were going with them. So I knew that our family is different than other families, and something special is gonna come out of it.
So when you think 30 years, what comes to mind?
30 years, our trip back from the States to Poland, and the beginnings of the ministry in Poland.
Anything specific that you remember from this, like 30 years
By
ago?
the way, you have a right not to remember, because
right.
it was
That's right.
a long time ago, so nothing wrong. I won't be offended if you don't remember or...
Yeah, I just remember I was always at the, you could say, in the ministry, because I was with my parents, with my mom and dad, that started Proem, and being there at the camps. For me, it was just fun, hanging around all the campers and workers. So that's what I remember.
So 30 years, fun.
Yeah, we'll go back, I guess, Rafa. I think we'll go back to this story,
Oh,
the
yeah,
beginnings,
definitely.
right? We're just right now just thinking what to talk about, right?
That's right.
How to think about that, and then how to talk about, for example, if we go back, the camps was something that was a beginning, right? Very important for us, and I guess, Daniel, you have the longest story, right? The involvement with the
Almost 30
camping of
years.
the Proem.
I missed the first one. But and then after that, I was there. And when I look at the 30 years, not 30 years ago, but generally the 30 years as a whole, if I can say one word, it's just wow. Because what we could experience in those 30 years, as I said, 30 years ago, I would never think that all these things will happen, and all these things I will be involved in and I'll be part of, and that's something incredible 30 years of God's blessings and incredible people that through these all years I had encountered and have privilege to work with and for and with, and so it's amazing. Wow.
It's a wow. It's a,
So fun. So we have fun.
It's a wow.
Wow. It's a wow. John?
That's a tough question. And maybe for me, coming a little bit from the outside so many years ago, it's hard for me to remember back
He was 6
23 years ago when I came, or something like that.
But because you struggle with memory, or because
That too. No, but I mean, there's so many different ways of looking at it too. I mean, you talk about the people we met, Daniel, relationally, and as an American, coming into a really Polish organization, and my perspective is also very different. And what I've learned about I don't know how to say it, but the faithfulness of doing, of serving God and others for 30 years is crazy when you think about it. And so I don't have one image, but the part of the opportunity to be a part of that is huge, and something that we kind of almost take for granted because it's what we do every day.
so faithfulness. You said faithfulness would be the word.
And plus, I would say, talking about John, there is a story in itself talking about him coming as a first missionary
Oh, that's right.
to work with us, with Proem, and I guess we need to go back to this and talk more about the beginnings of our partnership and bringing a missionary to the country.
But that's exactly like you said. It's a story in itself.
Yeah.
So again, if you're asking how we can share this story, it seems like this will be already a big story to talk about. And we got people who will be listening to us or who will be watching us, and the question is how we can kind of summarize all of this within one video or one story. Even now, when we're talking about it, just coming up with one word is too difficult because there's just so much. 30 years, even if not all of us, except for you and you, have been involved in this for 30 years. It's like for us, it's 30 years. I don't know, say baggage, but it's 30 years heritage or just like something that we live with, right?
And Proem is in such a different place now when we look at it. But back 30 years ago, in many ways, it's the same organization with the same ethos or the same way of doing things, and it's.
Well, I thought we were kind of progressing, John. We're doing things differently.
That's usually what happens.
No, but
Well,
that's
in my thinking, at least, it is.
So let's go with this because I think it's interesting. If you would say, so we have wow, fun, faithfulness. But let's just stay with this for a second. If you would say what has changed, and what stayed the same. Wow, when you think about
Well,
it.
you know what? Let me just return this, the question. You should ask the same question as well, So this is you're not free from that,
So I won't be free. No. I'm thinking, for me, when I think Proem, is the first word that comes to mind is relationships. I try to be more creative with this and find something, I don't know, less used word among us, but truly, when I remember these moments, breakthrough moments, great moments, or difficult moments in our ministry, the one thing, and it would tie with the question I've already asked, what would be the thing that stayed? I think relationships is something that very much describes us as ministry. That if we were to throughout these 30 years, I've seen many situations. And again, some were great ones, some were difficult ones, but I think we've always tried to do our best to keep good relationships among us, but also with people who maybe we disagreed sometimes, or people who came and went differently, but we always put emphasis on let's just try to stay in good relationships, because with God and with others,
That's right, and even that time we didn't say it is a better together.
That's right.
But we practiced that, not even telling, not knowing, and not thinking this way in the context of this word, better together. But in reality, when we look back, there is something that creates our DNA, because we're always trying to work and do and decide together. Well, that's one of the core values for us.
So you see, so we're going back to this, and one of the things that stayed, you would say, better together, or relationships, right? That's one thing that stays. The one of our key words for the ethos that we have here at Proem. What other words come to your mind, guys?
You know, if you would ask me, I'm sorry to say
Yes, we
this
do.
first. Yes, thank
we
you. I would say that one of the core value and important things we build the ministry around is we were saying that for us, a process is more important than product. I know how it sounds, but we care for the good result of what we are doing. Camps, Daniel was talking about the camps, the 30 years ago, first camp, 100 plus campers. This past summer,
2,500.
2,500. Well, that's a big difference, but still for us, it's so important that, okay, we don't think, okay, we have to create the best vehicle, best camps in the world, but we're just serious about doing the best way, caring for people and creating the atmosphere where people are welcome and we feel that we're doing what God wants us to do. So for me, process over the product is a strategic word and the thinking for our ministry.
Anything else?
For me, it was always very important that the team leadership. Like we have this. Obviously, Mao is a leader, but he included other into the leadership group, and we always agree on something before we pursue something. It was not voting. It was not 2-1 vote and then we go. Always discuss things, and then if we all agree that this is what we believe God is leading us toward this, we all pursue that and all put 100% behind it, and as I see it, and God kind of blessed that. I think that's because we're looking for unity in our leadership process.
Team leadership.
Team leadership.
That's one thing that stayed throughout these years.
I would say, Kulki, that just the fascination with Jesus and the story, of the gospel, which it's in everything we do, and we've never walked away from that. That's still for each one of us, and we maybe express it in different ways. But the fascination with the fact that of God's love through Jesus and that message has been at the very core of who we are, not as a group of guys working with Proem, but also individually. And I think that also is something that it maybe looks a little bit different today because we're in different areas of maybe education that we didn't do that before. 30 years ago, we're in all these different areas, media, band, all these different things. But the core message of forgiveness and God's love, the gospel, is there through all of it. So that's, of course, for me, that's never changed.
I almost have a sense of what you're gonna say, but I'll wait.
Can I say this?
I think I know what you're gonna say, but
Your dad has never changed.
No, maybe.
No, I don't.
That's for sure.
I don't think you know what I'm gonna say.
I think I know. Well, let's try me.
Okay. No, I'm just like the relationships we were talking about. The word that might describe us is also friendship. Because I think like all of us sitting around this table, obviously my dad is we're family, but we're also good friends, and you guys, and we not only work together in the ministry, but we also hang out and just are good friends, and I think that helps. Being good friends helps work together and have just in this good atmosphere, and helps the process be more fun as well.
That's
And adding to this, I mean, that's from the beginning. That was actually example for us. That whole family was involved in the ministry.
Family
Not
working
only
together. Yeah.
working together. Even Przemek was maybe when he was 6, he didn't work yet. But I remember he was like 12 or 13. He was already making movies, camp movies, putting together something because whole family were involved in the ministry. And
Actually, you were his teacher at that time. You were doing these things together.
So we were doing some stuff together.
Our media ministry.
media from Daniel.
Exactly.
Yes.
Look,
Yeah.
look where he's at today.
That's a little known fact.
Yes, that was secret. But also our families, and we're learning for this. It's like this environment that whole families are involved, and then we try to encourage. We don't force our kids, obviously, but we try to teach them. And as they see how we work, they like naturally are plugged in the ministry, and they do it this with the joy, and they love it to it because it's fun, but it's interesting, and they know that it's important to be part of it, part of ministry, and be involved. So that's very very important part of
and you're right.
these 30 years.
I'm thinking, like even like my kids, I was worried that by coming to the camps every year, that for them it's going to be like, oh, camps again, I want to go somewhere else. But not that they don't want to go somewhere else, that they want to come to these camps, but they also want to be involved in these camps, that they find great value in working together, where mom and dad are working, when their friends are working. Yeah, that's definitely...
Yeah, that was the case with me.
Yeah,
it was the best place to be during the summer vacations. So.
Well, that's a funny family story, because we did have an opportunity to being a partner with the international campings, etc., etc. I wanted to send Przemek every year somewhere to the different country for a camp to learn. He learned English when we were in the States, but then Spanish, etc. And he was always saying, oh, yeah, when it was in November or December, he was saying, oh, yeah, I'll go. In March, he was not already so excited about that. But then in June was coming, Przemek was saying, do I have to go there? I would like to stay with us and doing camps together. Guys, I guess we could talk like that. We're already talking pretty long, Rafael. No,
I'm not sure it's
not
long.
too long
I think
yet.
Everybody enjoys it. I enjoy it, actually.
Me too.
I love it.
But
that shows only that there's so much stuff. There's just so much stuff to talk about in this.
It is. And, we're sitting today like that because starting with a small beginning, and you being involved at the beginning of the ministry in different areas of the ministry. Today, you are the leaders of a certain, how I should say, division, departments. I guess it's two big words, but different areas of our ministry, and important and very flourishing, and doing a great thing. The Przemek is on top of something what we call Proem Help, where there is a help needed here with any whatever other areas what we're doing, media, IT, practical help, something like that. There is a leg, we call it Proem Help. Rafa is on the top of we call it Proem Tommy, which is the stands. I guess I should tell you I should let you to tell about that, but it would be long, I guess, if I give you time to.
Short, it's shorter.
Rafa is on the top of the church planting and the worship band, and I mean, man, what we're doing today, this is each department is a different story, and I guess we'll go back to these different stories to tell you more.
We should.
I guess. Daniel, camp and conferences, internationally involved with the Christian camping, Poland, abroad, conferences and facility, which grew up to the best place in Poland for this kind of activities. John, running the school, staying on the top of the mission exchange programs, and students coming, interns coming. It's a lot of things to talk. And we'll do it. How we'll do it, I still don't know, guys. So we need to come up to the decision and see how we'll do it. So, Rafa, you're as a facilitator.
No, but I have a sense that we're pretty much enjoying this conversation.
We do, and I hope we
just go with the flow. Go with the flow.
Let's go with the flow.
Yeah.
See, go with the flow. No, but I think since we are enjoying this conversation, I hope our listeners and our viewers are also enjoying this conversation. So it seems pretty natural to invite all of you who are watching us right now or listening to this conversation now to listen to us more regularly, because today we'd like to start with this podcast. We'd like to start our Proem 30 years video, audio podcast, where we'd like to share some stories and go through 12 chapters or 12 episodes that will describe different parts of our ministry, areas of our ministry, times of our ministry. Maybe we will share some fun stories, we'll share some serious stories, but it seems that this will be probably the best way to celebrate the year of 2020 as the 30th anniversary of Proem Ministries, and we'll be coming back with more stories. So thank you very much, guys, for this conversation.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it, and tune in for more coming soon.